Hello and welcome to ATP Report. I'm Barry Nussbaum. We have our very special scholar in residence back with us today. First, I'm going to ask you for some homework assignment. It's very simple and very quick. Take out your cell phone. If you haven't signed up for our free text message alert system, please do it now by simply texting the word truth and address it to 88202 in the address bar and push send. You'll be signed up in about 4 seconds. You'll get all of our content, including today's show, absolutely for free forever, right in the palm of your hand. So it's Clare Lopez time. Clare is a renowned scholar with a tremendous background in public service for the United States at the State Department and the CIA. She is our acknowledged international affairs expert. She is the founder of Lopez Liberty LLC. Welcome back, Clare.
Thank you, Barry. Always glad to be back with you.
Let's start with Ukraine and Russia, which you know a lot about, obviously. And the big question is, will Russia invade? Many very astute commentators, General Jack Keane, Conrad Black, Kash Patel, they all think there won't be an all-out conflict, but at the last minute, something will happen to cause Russia to pull back, but they have designs on serious amounts of Ukrainian territory. Maybe there will be an invasion. Maybe there'll be a false flag. What do you think? Is there going to be a Russian invasion? And if not, why not?
Well, I have been influenced by those scholars and observers, commentators that you mentioned, and I tend to listen to them. I think that what Putin really wants is a few things, some of which he's already gotten. He's already gotten a visible split in NATO. He's already gotten a visible demonstration that neither NATO nor the United States, a member of NATO, will actually expend blood and treasure for Ukraine. And he's also sort of positioned himself on the international stage to bring to the fore these objectives of his, which are domination over his, what he would call near abroad, among the states that used to be either part of the Soviet Union or the Warsaw Pact.
Well, we'll see. We sure have a very weak pushback coming from the United States. So I think Putin's going to do whatever Putin decides he wants to do, whatever's best for him. Speaking of brutal dictatorships, China, the host of the Winter Olympics that are going on now, to the great disappointment of NBC, are literally the worst rated Olympics in television history. Might have something to do with the fact that the host country is a brutal communist dictatorship. There are tweets from reporters and athletes of very repressive police responses to anybody who steps out of line by, God forbid, criticizing the government. My question to you is, the Olympics seem to appear to be legitimizing a brutal government.
Yes,
is that true?
I do agree with that statement. I think that the free countries of the world, and led by the United States, should have boycotted these Olympics altogether. I do understand how hard these athletes have trained, some of them since they were very young children, for their individual sports. I get that. And I understand the tremendous letdown and disappointment it would be if they could not compete. But at the same time, there are bigger issues, and the tyrannical, dictatorial, oppressive communist regime of Beijing is just not the right place to be holding an Olympics.
Well, speaking of China and the brutality, just a short time ago, it seemed like dictator for life President Xi Jinping was going to be there forever. Now, it seems like his lock on power may actually be a little shakier than those in the West thought. I know there's a third term party secretary election coming up that you noted will be in November 2022. And there's actually noise about opposition that there are people that want to see a change within China. What's going to happen in November?
Well, I can't say for sure, but there are these fissures within the Chinese Communist Party itself. And it's a little bit amusing to actually observe what's going on. What happened is that after the tumultuous years of Mao Zedong, he was succeeded by Deng Xiaoping, who encouraged China to open up to commerce, he encouraged Chinese to open businesses, to get rich, and they did. But in a system like that, without the guardrails that even imperfect Western systems of free market capitalism have, there was massive corruption. Well, now a lot of those tycoons, and we're talking billionaires in US dollar terms, many of them in China, have amassed so much money and so much power that they're demanding a seat at the table, as it were, to share power with the Chinese Communist Party, with Xi Jinping. And that's not exactly what the Communist Chinese Party had in mind. So yes, it's traditional that a Chinese Communist Party leader like Xi would serve 2 terms. Each one is 5 years long. So 10 years already, Xi Jinping's been in power, wants to go up now untraditionally for a 3rd term come this November of 2022. But there are these factions pushing back, and there are other factions besides, kind of overlapping in the scene right now, on the scene. So we shall see.
Well, I guess today is going to be Claire and Barry talking about brutal dictatorships. We haven't touched on Iran yet, and they just revealed in an article that is getting worldwide publicity now, a new rocket. They showed pictures of it on display, and it's a super long-range ballistic missile that they say can hit the United States and obviously Israel. For the millionth time, more or less, they're declaring their intention to destroy Israel and wipe them off the map forthwith. At the same time, they are saying, our missiles will destroy your cities, so you better remove all sanctions and let us enhance uranium. That's sort of the pitch that's going on to the new JCPOA meetings in Europe right now. Is this the weirdest negotiation you've ever seen? We're going to kill all of you unless you build weapons that will allow us to kill all of you.
It really is strange to watch. This is sort of playbook for the Iranian regime, bluster and threats. And we don't know if these claims about these particular missiles are genuinely true or not. We don't know that. They make claims from time to time about things that may or may not be actually true. But the point is that they're threatening, yes, to wipe Israel off the face of the map just about every other Friday. And they are also threatening to unleash terrorist attacks inside the United States of America. Now, we know that the Iranian regime and its Shiite Lebanese terror proxy Hezbollah both have operatives inside the United States. We know that because some have actually been caught and indicted and brought to trial for thankfully, the plotting attacks that were interdicted. They were stopped before they could be carried out. So we know that they have that capability here. But blustering, they're going to kill us all, and at the same time, demanding that the United States, as part of these JCPOA, Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, negotiations going on now for months in Vienna, Austria, that the United States and the rest, the P5 or the 5+1, Germany is the +1 part, capitulate and remove every sanction ever imposed against the Iranian regime since the beginning of time. And oh yes, also, you've probably heard this one, right? that the United States government must arrest and execute our former president, Donald Trump, because of his orders to take out the Quds Force commander,
Soleimani.
Major General Qasem Soleimani, and that took place in January of 2020. So making these demands, and by the way, the United States delegation in Vienna is not even allowed in the same hotel room with the rest of the negotiators, including the Iranians. The Americans have to sit outside someplace.
So
And every now and then, the Europeans come out.
I think you're agreeing. This is the most bizarre international discussion about peace ever. I'm going to kill you, or you're going to give me all the weapons I want, which, by the way, I could then use to kill you.
But the Biden administration has made concession after concession, one of the most recent being prevailing upon the government of South Korea to release frozen Iranian funds that had been held in their bank, in order that Iran could pay its arrears dues at the United Nations. And they did that.
I know. It's concession after concession after concession without getting anything in return.
That's the point.
And as you said, we are in the hall because we can't come in the room. Claire, tell people where to find out more about you and follow your work, please.
Well, certainly right here at the American Truth Project. And just as you told folks at the beginning, they can also text for cell phone alerts about my videos, specifically my own, like this one. They can text my name, LOPEZ, to the number 88202, and they will get the notifications on their cell phone of my videos. I'm also posting writing and videos at the United West, at the Citizens Commission on National Security, and I'm newly a senior advisory board member at Sargis Sangari's Security for Engagement, Near East Center for Security Engagement. And then, of course, on social media, you can find me at Clare M. Lopez on Twitter, same on Facebook, and at Telegram, I'm Lopez Liberty. I think
like
that's
I always say, Claire is ubiquitous. You can find her everywhere. And for those of you out there in TV land, I hope you have subscribed with either Lopez or Truth in your message to 88202. Please do it. You'll get everything for free and you'll never miss an episode. For ATP Report, thanks for joining us today. I'm Barry Nussbaum.